Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Larry DeLutis Field in Rome, New York. This is Flames Baseball, as tonight the Onondaga Flames take on the Rome Generals. Hi again, everybody. I'm Eric Moon. Morgan Chapman and Brandon Ross are both on assignment this evening. The Flames coming into this one having lost their last game against the Syracuse Saltcats after defeating the Syracuse Spartans 7-2 on Friday night. Here's the batting order tonight for the Flames, put together by head coach Mike Cordero. Leading things off is the shortstop McLean O'Connor. Batting second, the DH is Mike Netzel, rather. Brian Hart, the second baseman, bats third. Batting fourth is Colin Matthews, the right fielder. Corbin Paxton, the first baseman, bats fifth. Batting sixth is the catcher Trace Peterson. Batting seventh is A.J. DiFilippo, the left fielder. The third baseman Jared Grosguth bats eighth. And batting ninth is the center fielder Jack Cherno. They face Josh Dennison for the Rome Generals on the mounds tonight. Dennison out of North Canton, Ohio, attends OSU Mansfield. He will be a junior in the fall. 5'10", 230-pound right-hand pitcher on the mound with very long hair, to say the least. And Dennison is making his sixth start in sixth appearance on the year as McLean O'Connor steps in to get things going here against Dennison and the Generals tonight. Flames come into this one in first place in the NYCBL Eastern Division with a 17-12 record, and the Rome Generals come into this one at 12-17 in last place in the NYCBL Eastern Division, but top to bottom, just 5 games separate all 6 teams as O'Connor steps in against Dennison. O'Connor has not recorded a hit in his last 2 games. First pitch to him is a fastball up and in for ball 1, and we are underway at 6:29 Eastern Standard Time from Rome, New York. Flames in their usual red jerseys on the road with white pants, as the 1-0 is chopped foul to the left side by O'Connor. Strike 1, the count evens up at a ball and a strike. And the Generals tonight are in their home whites with Generals in red scribbled across the chest. They also have blue baseball caps with white in the front for the logo. Breaking ball to O'Connor is outside for ball 2. The count 2 balls and 1 strike now. Dennison on the year is 1-3 in 5 starts coming into this one. That fastball finds the plate for strike 2. The count evens up at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Dennison has pitched in 30 innings so far this year, 19 runs, 16 earned. He's allowed 33 hits in those 30 innings. He has walked 14, struck out 15 so far this season. 2-2. And the fastball gets him looking on the outside corner. Good pitch from Dennison and a good at-bat for the pitcher to begin things here tonight in Rome. That brings up the designated hitter, Mike Netzel. And this Flames offense, we brought it up in the pregame. The Flames offense has been sputtering as of late. Besides their 5-run second inning against the Spartans on Friday night, they have been struggling since beating the Silversmiths on Monday as the fastball finds the outside corner by the score of 15-2 when they had a stretch of 4 games in which they scored a little more than 13 runs per game. As the 0-1 fastball is up and away to Netzel. Count evens up at a ball and a strike. Shutout for the first time this season last night against the Syracuse Saltcats by the score of 3-0. 1-1 breaking balls in the dirt for ball 2. The count 2 balls and a strike to Netzel. But besides the 5-run second inning against the Spartans on Friday night, 2 against the Spartans, 1 against the Silversmiths, 3 against the Generals, 3 against the Generals. In their last 4 games, they've averaged a little less than 2 runs per game as Netzel lines one towards center field, and it drops in front of Peters for a base hit. Mike Netzel with the first hit of the night for the Flames. He's the first base runner, and there goes the no-hitter right off the bat here in the second inning. Here comes Brian Hart, the second baseman, and Hart has been a consistent hitter for the Flames so far this year, despite leading the team in strikeouts with 27 coming into this one. But he has just as many hits, and he has 13 extra base hits. The extra base hits account for almost half of his hits so far this season. Dennison throws over to first. A little rainbow shot over there. Not even a tag applied to Netzel. Dennison looked like he was going to follow through on the pickoff right away, but he just kind of lofted it sidearm at the last second. First one to Hart. Fastball just misses for ball one. The count 1 ball and no strikes to Hart. Hart last night against the Syracuse Saltcats went 0 for 4. It was an 0 for most of the Flames hitters last night. Here is the 1-0 to Hart, and he fouls one away to the right side. That one's going to get out of play. Count evens up at a ball and a strike. And when the Flames offense is sputtering, it seems they're able to get guys on base, but they just can't get them home. Last night, didn't score a run, but they recorded 8 hits. But they left 11 runners on base against Zach Soder and the Syracuse Saltcat pitching staff. Here's a 1-1, and Hart hits it in the air to left field. That one is high and deep. Chasing back is Baker to the wall. He makes the catch at the track. And Netzel jogs back to first base after a long flyout for out number 2. That brings up the right fielder, Colin Matthews. Matthews on the year, leading hitter for the Flames to this point when it comes to, at least when you look at eligible stats, because Joe Navenchi has a batting average of .333, but he has played in only 2 games. My mistake, Matthews does have the highest batting average on the team, as the throw over to first is not in time. He is hitting .339 on the year in 22 games coming into this one. 21 hits in 62 tries. First one to him is popped up in the infield right around second base. 3 generals around it, and the shortstop, Luis Attiles, makes the catch to retire the side. So the Flames get a base runner, but strand him at first. And it's the Onondaga Flames 0, and the Rome Generals coming to bat here on Flames Baseball. Welcome back to Flames Baseball. Here's the Rome General batting order tonight, put together by head coach Cole Mordazek. Leading off is the third baseman, Derek Miller. He steps up to the plate now. Batting second is the right fielder Chris DiGiacomo. Luis Attili's the shortstop, bats third. Batting fourth is the left fielder Matt Baker. The first baseman Joe Bramante bats fifth. Batting sixth is the DH Kenny Michael. Batting seventh is the catcher Sean Tyler. The second baseman Tony Perino bats eighth. And Steven Peters is in center field. He bats ninth, and they face Gunnar Groen in his seventh start of the season for the Flames, and he has been simply outstanding so far this year. Here comes the first pitch out of the stretch to Derek Miller, and that first pitch fastball is over the plate. Strike one, the count, no balls and a strike. Gunnar has been consistent in pitching to contact and working quickly despite his slow pace on the mound. Because he pitches to contact, he has been so efficient. His last two games, he has gone the distance as the 0-1 pitch is low and in on Miller. 1 ball and 1 strike. However, his last start against the Cheryl Silversmiths was cut short in that 7-inning game 1 of a doubleheader. Game 2 was postponed, and Game 1 was rained out after 5.5 innings. So he went 5 innings and picked up the win in his last start. 1-1 fastball misses up and away for ball 2. The count 2 balls and a strike to Miller. Groen has pitched 36 innings so far this year. He has allowed 14 runs, 9 earned, and his record is 3-1 with a 2.25 ERA, which, interestingly enough, is in the middle of the pack on the Flames pitching staff, which is very impressive, to say the least. 2-1. Off speed finds the zone for strike 2, and the count evens up at 2 balls and 2 strikes, and that definitely says something for sure about the Flames pitching staff and how good they have been this season. Far and away, at least statistically, the best pitching staff in the NYCBL in 2018. As here is the 2-2 to Miller. He swings and misses at a fastball, and that retires Miller. A rare strikeout from Gunnar Groen, and that's how he begins his night on the mound, 1 away. That brings up Chris DiGiacomo. DiGiacomo on the year batting .254 in 23 games so far this year. The right fielder steps up with 1 out and nobody on base. Left-hand batter steps in against Gunnar Groen, the righty on the mound. First one to him is a cut and a miss at a high fastball. That is strike 1. The count, no balls and a strike to the Rome right fielder. DiGiacomo 15 of 59 so far this year. 7 runs scored, and of his 15 hits, 1 double, 1 homer. He has driven in 7. 0-1. Pitch is a little low, maybe inside. One of those two, if not both. 1 ball and 1 strike to DiGiacomo. Straightaway field, pretty much, here at Larry DeLutis Field. In terms of distance to the fence, here's a 1-1. And the fastball is high for ball 2. The count 2 balls and 1 strike. To the corners, 324. However, it becomes a bigger park in the gaps, 380 to left and right center, and then 395 to center, but the fence is twice as high for the batter's eye. As DiGiacomo steps in with a 2-1 count against Gunnar. Here it is, and the fastball is hit in the air to right field. That one is pretty deep. Chasing back is Colin Matthews. That one's over his head, and it bounces off the wall. Matthews corrals it at the wall, and DiGiacomo jogs into second base with a hit, and then the throw gets away. DiGiacomo to third. Grosskreutz bobbles it, and even with Gunnar Groen covering the third base bag, DiGiacomo's into third on the throwing error. Double and an error on Colin Matthews, and the Rome Generals doubles parade continues in these last 3 games. They are now one of the league leaders when it comes to doubles at 51. As a matter of fact, they are the leaders as a team in doubles on the year, and that's how they have really gotten their offense going in these last 2 games. The doubles offense, as Luis Attili steps in with a runner on third and 1 away after the double and the error. Attili's pops it up on the first one. Right side, Corbin Paxton going after it towards the fence. It is well out of his reach and into the seats. Strike 1, the count, no balls and a strike to Attili's. The space in foul territory is relatively similar to OCC. Definitely when it comes to the infield and behind home plate, pretty much the same. going down the lines, it gets a little smaller, but it's designed in a similar way to Onondaga Community College. As here's the 0-1. Breaking ball is well outside. Ball 1, the count evens up, and a ball and a strike. Achilles is the player that the Flames have not seen so far this year. He has played in 16 games. He is batting .290 on the year so far, 18 of 62 at the plate. 1-1. Breaking ball is fouled back to the screen and bounces into the seats in front of us. Strike 2, the count, 1 ball and 2 strikes now. And Achilles, of his 18 hits, 5 of them for extra bases, 3 doubles and 2 homers. That double by DiGiacomo in the previous at-bat was his 2nd of the year and his 16th hit. 1-2 to Achilles, and the fastball is grounded towards second. Good play for Hart. He'll take the out at first, and that is the second out of the inning. Meanwhile, DiGiacomo scores from third base, and the Rome Generals open the scoring tonight. It's 1-0 Rome on an RBI grounder from Luis Achilles. And for Achilles, that is his 12th RBI of the season. Good enough for 3rd on the team. So now 2 outs and nobody on base, and that brings up Matt Baker, the left fielder for the Generals tonight. Baker, the cleanup man in the order. He's usually the leadoff man from what the Flames have seen so far. Baker pops it up on the first pitch. Shallow center field. Cherno, Hart, and Matthews converging on it. Cherno, the center fielder, makes the catch, and that will retire the side. But a double and an error result in Chris DiGiacomo getting to third base, and an RBI grounder from Luis Achilles gets the Generals on the board. 1-0 Rome after 1 inning of play. Welcome back to Flames Baseball. 5, 6, 7 in the Onondaga order to lead off the top of the second inning. That brings up Corbin Paxton to begin things. Flames got a base runner in that first inning on a single from Mike Netzel to center field. Unfortunately for them, though, they stranded him at first base. Paxton steps up with an average that's just under the Mendoza line now. Now 9 of 47 on the year. 2 nights ago against Syracuse Spartans. Did not record a hit. He was over 3. Fastball on the outside corner, excuse me. Strike 1, the count, no balls and a strike. 13 pitches in that first inning for Josh Dennison to get out of the jam. As the 0-1 fastball is high and ticks off the glove of Sean Tyler to the backstop. Count evens up at a ball and a strike. Paxton's teammate at Lake Erie College, Trace Peterson, is on deck. And Paxton has scored 5 runs on the year, as the off-speed is a beauty on the inside corner. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Corbin Paxton. Of his 9 hits on the year, 4 of them have gone for extra bases. 1 double, 2 triples, and 1 home run. The home run came in Sherrill last Monday. 1-2, pitch is a waste pitch outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And Paxton has also recorded 7 walks. He has struck out 12 times so far this year. 2-2. Swinging a grounder down the first base line. It just bounces foul despite being picked at first by Joe Bramonti. So Paxton will go back to home plate, and he'll do it again. Trying to put together a quality at-bat. He's doing a good job of it so far. Putting together a quality at-bat to get the leadoff man on and try and perhaps get the run back right away. in the second inning after the Generals opened the scoring in the bottom of the first inning. Here's another 2-2 from Dennison, and the breaking ball is a beauty on the outside corner. Paxton frozen at the plate, called strike 3, and that is the first out of the second inning. 2 strikeouts now for Dennison, and both have been of the looking variety. 1 on a fastball and 1 on a breaking ball. So here's Trace Peterson. Last night, 1 for 4 against the Syracuse Saltcats. And he's hitting pretty well so far, 266, 21 of 79 on the year. First one to him is a breaking ball over the plate for strike 1. The count, no balls and a strike. That breaking ball is working right now for Josh Dennison. And the count is 0-1. Here it is. And another breaking ball right on cue is on the inside corner. No balls and 2 strikes. As Dennison just keeps working, and he's working pretty quickly after having to battle to get Paxton out. The breaking ball's low and away and in the dirt. It's ball 1, the count 1 ball and 2 strikes. Yeah, so Peterson has scored 11 times on the year. He has 3 doubles among his 21 hits. And he's driven in 9. 1-2 fastball well up and in. Peterson forced a duck just a smidge. And the count evens up at a 2-ball, 2-strike count, as Peterson is battling to stay alive in this at-bat. 2-2. Breaking ball's hit hard off the glove of Dennison. It gets behind him, and Peterson is on first base with an infield hit. So Dennison almost made the grab on the line drive right back to him, but it ticked off his glove and rolled just far enough away from him that Peterson was able to get on for the base hit. 2 hits now on the day for the Flames, and there's a runner on first with the 1 away. The second 1-out hit for Onondaga in 2 innings. And that brings up the left fielder, A.J. DiFilippo. Did not play in last night's game against the Saltcats. 2 nights ago against the Spartans. 1 for 3 with an RBI single, a walk, and a strikeout. And he's hitting just below 300 on the year. Just a point below 300 at 299 coming into this one. It's his 24th game of the season. In the first 23, he has recorded 23 hits. Dennison has a sign ready to deal the first one to the left-handed batter. And the fastball just misses the outside corner. Ball 1, the count 1 ball and no strikes. Taking a look now in the Robe General defense. In the outfield from left to right, Matt Baker in left, Steven Peters in center, Christy Giacomo to right. In the infield from left to right, Derek Miller at third base, Luis Attilis at short. Throw over to first, meanwhile, by Josh Dennison is not in time to get Trace Peterson. At second base, Tony Perino. At first base, Joe Bramante. And catching balls and strikes tonight is Sean Tyler. 1-0. And the fastball's on the outside corner. The catcher, Tyler, fakes the throw back to first base, but he chose not to. Count evens up at a ball and a strike, as Dennison has already eclipsed his pitch count from the first inning. 13 in each inning to this point, 26 so far in this one. Here's a 1-1. And DiFilippo thought about swinging at that fastball, but it just missed the outside corner. So that was a good call by DiFilippo at the plate. 2 balls and a strike. And DiFilippo, he has driven in 21 runs, which is tied for first on the Flames squad. And here's the 2-1. DiFilippo hits it in the air. A pop-up left side, and it gets out of play into the seats, rather into the Flames bullpen. And the count evens up at 2 balls and 2 strikes. The third consecutive at-bat to begin the second inning with a 2-ball, 2-strike count against the Flames. DiFilippo has he came out to a roaring start in the first week and a half of the season, as the throw over to first is not in time. He has tailored off just a little bit as teams have started to figure out how to get him out, but he is still hitting well for this Flames squad. As I mentioned, his batting average just a tick under 300 on the year, as DiFilippo pops it up in the infield, calling forward to Sean Tyler to the left side of the third base foul line. He makes the catch in foul territory, and that is the second out of the second inning. That brings up the third baseman, Jared Grosguth. Grosguth, the 9 to go, was a pinch hitter for Joe Navenchi in the 8th spot in the order. He is in the 8th spot tonight to start things out. Flames, of course, did not score a single run last night against the Syracuse Saltcats. First shutout against them this season. Interestingly enough, the Flames pitching staff statistically the best in the league as the breaky ball is over the plate. Strike one, the count, no balls, and a strike to Grosguth. Best statistically the best pitching staff in the league, but they have not recorded a shutout themselves so far this year, so that is an interesting note. Throw over to first was not in time, but it was pretty close to try and get Trace Peterson. Grosguth batting 2 ticks under 300 on the year. He is batting .298. This is his 25th game of the year for number 24, and he's 17 of 57 at the plate. Fastball is inside for ball 1. The count evens up at a ball and a strike to the Flame third baseman. Grosguth among the leading hitters on this Flame squad, many of them batting in the 280 to 300 range as the 1-1 fastball stays high. Ball 2, the count 2 balls and a strike to the Flame third baseman. Grosguth batting .298. DeFilippo, the batter prior to him, batting .299. Colin Matthews, you've seen him already, batting .339. McLean O'Connor, .333 coming into this one. 2-1 pitch is up and in on Grosguth. Snap throw was faked by the catcher Sean Tyler, and Grosguth now has a good hitter's count at 3 balls and 1 strike. Per usual, with a runner on first base, a pretty big hole in the right side of the infield with the middle infielders in double play depth, both Achilles and Perino, and covering the first base bag is Joe Bermonti. 3-1. Big cut and a miss by Grosguth at the fastball. That was up in the zone, but unhittable on the outer part of the plate. And the count runs full now to 3 balls and 2 strikes to Grosguth. Flames have been putting together quality at bats all inning, and as a result, with the 4th batter at the plate, Josh Dennison is at 21 pitches so far this inning. Number 22 is a fastball fouled away by Grosguth to the right side near a golf cart being driven towards the stands down the right field line. And the count remains full at 3 balls and 2 strikes. Gunnar Groen getting some rest after his first inning. He gave up a run, which was scored as an unearned run on 1 hit. He faced 4 batters, just 14 pitches. 3-2 is lined hard, but foul down the left field line. And the count remains 3 balls and 2 strikes. A good at-bat here by Grosguth. And the next pitch will be the 8th. Josh Dennison waiting for a baseball, and he just got one from the Rome General dugout. As the home plate umpire needs some more baseballs now. He gets them from the General dugout. Usually you see that happen during pitches when the home plate umpire is at maybe 1 or 2 baseballs left. You know, the home plate umpire calls for 3 or 4 baseballs after a foul ball, and then after the next pitch, he gets those baseballs from the home dugout. Now the payoff, and Grosguth pops it up right side. Bramonti going towards the fence, and that one's going to get out of play. And we're going to do it again at 3 balls and 2 strikes. And this next pitch will be number 9 in the at-bat for Jared Grosguth. Quite the battle here between him and Josh Dennison, and it might not be the only battle tonight between these two. We'll see how the Flames offense does tonight after not hitting so well in the last 3 games. Last 4, rather. Time is called at the request of Grosguth by the home plate umpire. On deck for the Flames is Jack Cherno, the center fielder, if we get there. 3-2 count, 2 outs, and Trace Peterson on first base. Jared Grosguth at the plate. And here's the payoff. Grosguth lines it hard, but right at the third baseman, Miller, and that will retire the side. So Grosguth with a hard out to end the inning, and Trace Peterson is stranded at first base. Second runner left on base tonight by Onondaga, And we go to the bottom of the second inning. 1-0 Rome. This is Flames baseball. Welcome back to Flames baseball. Flames trailing the Rome Generals 1-0. An inning and a half into this game tonight. It is Joe Bramante to lead things off for the Rome Generals. To begin things here in the bottom of the second inning, 5, 6, 7 in the Rome order. As Bramante, the Iron Man for this General squad, steps up to the plate against Gunnar Groen. And he's adjusting the batter's box to his liking, so he's taking a second up there. Now ready to go against Gunnar Groen, who's in his second inning of work in tonight's start. First 1-2 Bramante is a fastball over the outside corner. Strike one, the count now, no balls and 1 strike to begin the at-bat. Bramante has played in all 29 games so far this year, the only General player to do that. He's batting .323 on the year. So that's one of many reasons why he has played every single game to this point. 0-1 breaking ball is a slow one that stays up. Ball 1, the count evens up at a ball and a strike. Bramante has the most at-bats on the team, of course, with the most games. 96 of them on the year. He has 31 hits in 29 games. 1-1. Fastball just misses the outside corner, and the count now 2 balls and 1 strike to Bramante. 22 runs scored on the year. He has driven in 17, and of his 31 hits, 11 have gone for extra bases. 10 doubles, 1 home run. 2-1 from Gunnar is a fastball swung on and missed for strike 2. Good fastball from Gunnar, and the count evens up at 2 balls and 2 strikes. We'll take a look at the Flames defensive alignment in just a moment. Gunnar has a sign ready for the 2-2. Here it is, and the fastball is fouled back to the netting. And the count stays at 2 balls and 2 strikes. 5-pitch at bat so far to Bramante. Bramante out of the University of Maine, native of North Andover, Massachusetts. We mentioned some alumni from the University of Maine, as the 2-2 is chopped foul to the left side, and Cole Morazic brought his silky mitts to the park. He fields it on a hop down the third base side. Count remains at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Notable to Brandon Morgan and myself, Gary Thorne, the broadcaster, of course, a couple of hockey guys, because made in the Northeast, so it's a pretty significant hockey bid. Good program there. As here's the 2-2 again, the Bramante, and he hits it in the air to right center field, pretty shallow. Cherno and Matthews going after. Cherno calls him off and makes the catch for the out. And that is the first out here in the second inning. Let's take a look at the Flames' defensive alignment. In the outfield from left to right, it is A.J. DiFilippo in left, Jack Cherno in center, and Colin Matthews in right field. In the infield from left to right, on the left side of the infield is Jared Grosskreutz at third base, McLean O'Connor at shortstop. At second is Brian Hart, and at first is Corbin Paxton, and catching balls and strikes tonight is Trace Peterson. That brings up the DH Kenny Michael, the right-handed batter, facing the right-handed pitcher Groen, and the first one of him is a fastball outside. Ball 1, the count 1 ball and no strikes. So after a 7-pitch at bat against Joe Bramante, Gunnar Groen misses with the first one to Kenny Michael. Here is the 1-0, and Michael breaks his bat with a high pop-up to shallow center. It drops between O'Connor and Cherno. Rounding first with part of the bat still is Kenny Michael, and he gives it to the first base coach, pretending to stab him. That was interesting, but everybody's okay. That was okay. So a base hit nonetheless for Kenny Michael, and the Generals have their second hit of the night. 1 out and a runner on first base after Michael recorded his 21st hit of the season. Catcher Sean Tyler up to the plate now for the Generals, and Tyler on the year is hitting pretty well. He's played in 18 of the team's 29 games, and he's hitting .346, good enough for 5th on the team. He squares up the bunt. Coming in is Grosskreutz, then he pulls it back, and the fastball's up and in for ball 1. Count is 1 ball and no strikes to the Rome catcher. We'll see if he lays down the bunt again, but he pulled it back as Groen was stealing to the plate, so maybe he'll be swinging here. Here's a 1-0, and the pitch is low and in for ball 2. Count 2 balls and no strikes. Peterson kept it in front of him. So good hitters count now for Sean Tyler. Last night, he was a significant contributor for this General squad in their 20-9 victory. As a matter of fact, the Generals scored in every inning but 2 in that contest, and Tyler, well, the Spartans couldn't get him out. As Gunnar is assigned, here's the 2-0. Fastball stays high, and the count now 3 balls and no strikes to him. 5 for 5 of the night. He scored 4 runs, and he drove in 6, both the most on the team in the game. So he was quite the hitter in the 7th spot in the order for Rome last night. 3-0. Get me over fastballs over the plate for strike 1. The count 3 balls and a strike to Tyler. 4th meeting of the season between the Generals and the Flames. And it's the 4th meeting in a span of 9 days. As the 3-1 is chopped foul to the left side towards the Flames dugout, into the Flames dugout. Count runs full now to 3 balls and 2 strikes. So far, the Flames have gotten the best of the Generals in all 3 games. First one here in Rome was a 15-2 drubbing, in which they scored 12 of those 15 runs in the first 2 innings of the ball game. Time called by the home plate umpire at the request of Sean Tyler. 2 days later, they met again at Onondaga Community College, and the Flames beat them badly again, 14-3. A big victory as the throw over to first is not in time, but pretty close to try and get Michael at first base. Then on Independence Day, for the night of 4th of July, the Flames eked out a 3-2 victory against the Generals. Another throw over to first. It gets away from Paxton. He tried hopping over Michael, but it gets down the line, and Michael's get around second base and head for third. Paxton picks it up. He guns it towards third base, but it's a little wide right. And Grosskreutz makes the snag, but on an E1, Kenny Michael gets to third base. So now, a productive out from Sean Tyler can get a run home once again for the Generals. And it was already a 1-0 game in favor of Rome. But the tables have turned since the last meeting between the Generals and the Flames on Wednesday, at least for both squads, for the most part. Here's the payoff from Gunner, and the fastball is lined into left field. That one drops in front of DiFilippo for a base hit. Michael scores easily from third, and the Generals have a 2-0 lead. RBI hit for Sean Tyler. That is his 12th RBI of the year. And in the last 24 hours, he is 6 for 6 at the plate. Absolutely on fire for Rome. So another run comes home, and this one comes home because of the throwing error on the pickoff move by Gunnar Groen. If it weren't for the error, runners on first and second, or first and third, and one away. Tony Perino, the batter now for Rome, and the first pitch is grounded hard towards third. Snagged by Grosskut. The throw to second is in time. Hart to first. That is in time as well. So the Flames get out of the inning with a 5-4-3 tailor-made double play. But not before the Rome Generals get another run on the scoreboard, and after 2 innings of play, it's the Flames 0 and the Generals 2. This is Flames baseball. Welcome back to Flames Baseball, 2-0 Rome after 2 innings of play tonight. Eric Moon with you on tonight's broadcast. Morgan Chapman and Brandon Ross are both on assignment. You'll hear from Brandon Ross once again on Tuesday and Morgan Chapman once again on Wednesday. Tomorrow night is an off night, at least for most of the Flames, because tomorrow night is the All-Star game at OCC. That will be broadcast on 105.9 FM. Maybe not around here, but to get it, it'll be on WGWEFM.com. As the first pitch to Jack Cherno is outside. Ball one, the count, 1 ball, no strikes. Once again, the All-Star game with a first pitch at 6:30. WGWEFM.com. As the fastball is on the outside corner this time. Count evens up at a ball and a strike after Dennison's 40th pitch of the night. Here is the 1-1, and the off-speed stays high from Dennison. Ball 2, the count, 2 balls and 1 strike. Christian de Guzman of the Spartans and Chris Russell of the Olean Oilers will have the call for that one. They will, for sure, do a great job tomorrow night. As Cherno grinds it hard towards second base, snagged there by Perino, and the throw to first is in time for the first out of the inning. And for the third inning in a row to begin tonight's game, the Flames' leadoff man is retired. Here's McLean O'Connor. He struck out looking his first time up for the Flames. 0 for 7 in the last 2 games for Onondaga. 0 for 2 last night, 0 for 5 2 nights ago, though he did drive in a run and score a run against the Spartans. First one to him is a breaking ball that dips below the zone. Ball one, the count 1 ball and no strikes. And so O'Connor struck out for the 5th time this year as the pitch misses for ball 2. Count 2 balls and no strikes to the Flame shortstop. Of course, out of UC Santa Barbara is O'Connor. As the 2-0, fastball is on the inside corner. Strike 1, the count 2 balls and a strike. Interesting note on O'Connor. 2-1. Meanwhile, is over the inside corner again. 2 balls and 2 strikes. So at Lincoln County High School, where he went to school, he recorded 10 varsity letters, 4 in baseball, 3 in football, and 3 in basketball. As the breaking ball stays high for ball 3. And the count runs full out of 3 balls and 2 strikes as O'Connor is putting together a pretty good at-bat. In 2016, in baseball, as here's the payoff, he takes a fastball and it misses, and on the check swing, the field umpire says he did not go. Ball 4, and O'Connor is the third base runner of the night for the Flames. And O'Connor, meanwhile, in high school, we were just to get this note in. In 2016, as a senior, he was the Nevada State MVP and the Nevada State champion with Lincoln County High School. As here comes Mike Netzel. Got on base with a base hit to center, a bloop shot, as the throw over to first is not in time. Blooper into center for a base hit his first time up. And he has been a good hitter for this Flames squad. First pitch fastball on the outside corner. That's strike 1. The count, no balls and a strike. The next one from Denison will be number 50 in his outing tonight through so far 2 1/3 innings. Netzel on the year, meanwhile, is batting .329. Good enough for 4th on the team. As the fastball is outside, taking the pickoff back to first was Tyler, but nothing doing. 1 ball and 1 strike to Netzel. .339 average for Colin Matthews, .333 for Joe Navenchi, the new arrival, and McLean O'Connor, at least coming into this one for O'Connor. Throw to first, not in time, but a pretty close play to try and get McLean O'Connor out. And then just behind them, Netzel batting .329 in 22 games as a hitter. Also a pitcher on this squad. He has made a few starts. He was the starter against the Generals on the mound on Wednesday. 1-1 fastball stays high. Ball 2, the count 2 balls and a strike. Netzel 24 hits on the year in 22 games. Rather 25 and 23 now after his single in the first inning. 5 doubles among his 25 hits, and he's driven in 8. And he's second in the team in terms of walks, as the 2-1 is a big swing and a miss at a fastball on the outside corner. Count evens up at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Netzel has recorded 21 walks on the year, just behind Jack Cherno for first on the team, as the throw to first is not in time. 22 for Cherno. And they lead a Flame squad in that category that leads the league in walks by far with 181 of them. Runner goes, and the 2-2 is fouled away to the right side. Netzel able to fight off the breaking ball, and the count runs full out of 3 balls and 2 strikes. It is the 3rd full count in the last 4 plate appearances for this Flame squad, so they're putting together a patient approach at the plate to try and get back in this one and try and get the offense going once again after not even scoring a run last night. Throw over to first is not in time to get O'Connor, and not even a tag applied by the first baseman, Joe Bramante. Full count to Netzel, and if he gets a fastball in the outer part of the plate, look for him to go the other way. Big hole on the right side of the infield. Here's a payoff. Fastball low. Rather, it's still 2-2. My mistake. And now the count's full at 3 balls and 2 strikes. And so Netzel steps back into the box with a full count. The product of Occidental College going up against the product of Ohio State University Mansfield. Here's a payoff. Runner goes, and Netzel fouls it away to the right side toward the concession stand behind the right field seats, and the count remains full at 3 balls and 2 strikes as the Flames keep running up the pitch count for Josh Dennison. He's at 55 now through 2 1/3 innings. No runs, 2 hits, 2 errors for the Flames. 2 runs, 3 hits, no errors for the Generals. Another payoff, and Netzel fouls it away to the right side again. Flames have lost 2 of their last 3 games, as Sean Tyler and Josh Dennison talked for a brief moment. Before that, a 5-game winning streak, their longest of the season, that propelled them to first place in the division against the Syracuse Spartans, who quite unbelievably have, since they faced the Flames back on June 23rd, they have lost 8 of 9. And they have dropped to 14 and 13 on the year. Throw over first is not in time to get O'Connor. And the Flames are in first place in the Eastern Division at 17-12, 1 game ahead of the Sherrill Silversmiths. Time called by the home plate umpire. Silversmiths at 16 and 13 on the year, and the Spartans behind them at 14 and 13. Silversmiths a game back of the Flames. Spartans 2 games back of the Flames. Here's another payoff, and Netzel takes a fastball up and in, though it was pretty close. Disciplined take for Netzel. And runners are on first and second now with 1 away for Brian Hart. Netzel records his team-leading 22nd walk of the year, tying him with Jack Cherno. And here's Brian Hart, who is tied for the team lead in RBIs with A.J. DiFilippo. Each hitter has recorded 21 of them. Driven in 21 runs each. Combined, they have accounted for nearly a quarter of the Flames' RBIs. First one to Hart is a big swing and miss at a fastball up in the upper third of the zone. Strike 1, the count, no balls and a strike. Hart got into one to left field his last time up, but the ball died pretty much at the fence as the left fielder Matt Baker was able to make the easy catch in front of the wall at the track. Setting up outside is Sean Tyler. 0-1, Hart fouls it back to the netting just above the screen behind home plate. And the count quickly is no balls and 2 strikes on Hart. And as we mentioned during his first plate appearance, he does have the most strikeouts on this Flames team, with 27 of them through his first 27 games. Time is called by the home plate umpire at the request of Brian Hart. Hart, of course, batting .287 on the year. 27 hits in 27 games coming into this one. 0-2. Swing and miss at a fastball. He foul tips it into the mitt of Sean Tyler, and that is strike 3. Hart goes down on 3 pitches. And that will bring up Colin Matthews with 2 outs and runners still at first and second base. Matthews, of course, the product of Kent State University. He's had a great year at the plate, coming off Tommy John surgery back in the fall of 2016 when he was a pitcher on the mound. He did make 1 appearance on the mound so far this year for the Flames, as the breaky ball's in the dirt for ball 1. The count 1 ball and no strikes. But he has been primarily a hitter, and he has been a good one at that, entering tonight's game with a .339 average. He popped out to the shortstop, Luis Atiles, to end the top half of the first inning. Now a chance for an RBI or 2 to try and get the Flames back in this one. Dennison looking off the runner at second. O'Connor, who had a huge lead. He was about a third of the way to third base with that big of a lead. And time was called as a result. So Matthews is 0 for 1 tonight. And the pick is back to second base, and in a pickle now is McLean O'Connor to the third baseman. Miller, the throw back to second, is in time to get O'Connor by Perino. So a caught stealing results in the inning ending unceremoniously for the Flames. So caught stealing is McLean O'Connor to end the inning, and Flames baseball will return in just a moment It's 2-0 Generals after 2.5 innings. Welcome back to Flames Baseball, set to begin the bottom of the third inning between the Onondaga Flames and the Rome Generals. Generals ahead 2-0 in this one. Steven Peters to lead things off. The lone representative for the Generals in tomorrow night's All-Star game when the NYCBL takes on the Atlantic Coastal Baseball League. As here comes the first one from Gunnar Groen, and Peters grounds it towards second base. Played by Hart, back to the bag is Paxi initially playing the ball. The throw to first is just in time with Peters hustling down the first base line. A 4-3 putout for the first out of the inning, but an action-packed one nonetheless. And here's the third baseman, Derek Miller. And the three Flames representatives are all in the bullpen. And two of them pitched last night. Jimmy Flahive has pitched the last 2 nights, so don't expect to see him tonight. Keon Taylor pitched last night in inning 2/3, keeping the Saltcats off the scoreboard. As here's the first one to Derek Miller. He squares up the bunt, lays it down the third baseline. Grosskreutz wasn't playing in, and he will just eat it. A beautiful bunt from Derek Miller, and that is a bunt single form. Fourth hit of the night for the Rome Generals. And there's a runner on first with one away. Interestingly enough, in the first 3 innings, as Chris DiGiacomo steps up to the plate, after the leadoff man has been retired in all 3 innings so far in this one by both teams, the second batter has reached base 5 times on a base hit, once on a walk, and that was McLean O'Connor in the last half inning. First one to DiGiacomo is a breaking ball up and away. Ball 1, the count, 1 ball and no strikes. DiGiacomo hit a double to right field that one-hopped the fence his last time up. Colin Matthews played it well in the corner, but his throw was a little off to the infield, resulting in an E9 and DiGiacomo reaching third base. He pops it up here, shallow left field. O'Connor and DiFilippo going after DiFilippo. The left fielder makes the catch. And that is the second out of the inning. Back to first base is Derek Miller. Here's the shortstop, Luis Satiles. And he drove in a run with an RBI ground out his first time up. That was the Generals' first run of the game. However, though there are 2 runs in so far for the Generals in this game, officially, none of them have been earned. So Gunnar Groen's ERA has not been affected so far tonight by the Generals scoring, as the throw to first is not in time. A swipe tag applied by Corbin Paxton, but nothing doing. Easily safe was Luis Satiles. Gunners at 35 pitches so far, so a pretty good pitch count through 2 2/3 innings. First one to Achilles. The runner fakes the steal, and Achilles pops it up. Right side of the infield, Corbin Paxton calling for it. He makes the catch on the grass, and that will retire the side. So after a one-out base hit by Derek Miller on the bunt single, the next two batters are retired with ease. And for the first time in this game, the Generals are held off the scoreboard. 2-0 Rome after 3 from Rome, New York. Welcome back to Flames Baseball. Flames trailing the Rome Generals 2-0 after 3 innings of play, a third of the game tonight. Colin Matthews to lead things off. 4, 5, 6 in the Onondaga order to begin the 4th inning, in which they really need to get something going. First pitch fastball over the plate, strike 1. The count, no balls and 1 strike. The Flames last scored a run in the 7th inning on Friday night against the Syracuse Spartans, as the 0-1 to Matthews is a breaking ball that misses the outside corner. 1 ball and 1 strike. So that is a grand total of 13 innings without a run in which the Flames have appeared at the plate. 1-1 fastball is outside for ball 2. The count, 2 balls and 1 strike. So the Flames offense in their worst slump of the season right now, after their longest winning streak of the season earlier this week, as Matthews grounds it hard towards second. Good hop for Perino, but a weird one nonetheless, and the throw to first is in time for the out. 1 away on a ground out by Colin Matthews. And here's the first baseman, Corbin Paxton. Matthews was actually at the plate to end the top of the 3rd inning. That was when McLean O'Connor was caught stealing on a pickoff move by Josh Dennison. He threw back to second base, and O'Connor started going towards third. And the play was scored a 1-6-5-4, caught stealing. So it was Dennison, the pitcher, to the shortstop, Luis Achilles, to the third baseman, Derek Miller, to the second baseman, Tony Perino. Breaking ball is low in the dirt, to Corbin Paxton. Ball 1, the count, 1 ball and no strikes. Paxton is one of 3 strikeout victims tonight for Josh Dennison. As the 1-0 is lined off the end of the bat towards short, it's under the glove of Achilles and into center field for a base hit. 3rd hit of the night for the Flames, and they get a base runner with 1 out here in the top of the 4th inning, and that interesting note continues, in which the second batter in every inning has reached. Paxton 1 for 2 now tonight after his 10th hit of the season. Here's Trace Peterson, who reached on a single his first time up. And Peterson steps up to the plate with his Lake Erie College teammate at first base. Right-handed batter against the right-handed pitcher, Josh Dennison. And here's the first one, too, and Peterson grounds it hard but foul down the third base line. Strike 1, the count, no balls and 1 strike. Pitch count for Josh Dennison at 69 now. Not the nicest of numbers at this point in the game, in which you're through just 3 1/3 innings. But he has pitched very well nonetheless for Rome, as he has not allowed a run. He has allowed only 3 hits. And his team has a 2-0 lead early on in this one. Here's the 0-1, and the fastball finds the inside corner for strike 2. Count now, no balls and 2 strikes to Trace. Trace batting in the 260s for this Flames squad so far this year. Here is the 0-2, and the breaking ball is well low and outside. 1 ball and 2 strikes. A waste pitch there by Dennison, just trying to get Peterson to chase. He did not take the bait, however. Peterson has played quite a bit of games for the Flames. This is his 28th of the year that he's appeared in, and the team's 30th game as Peterson hits in the air. To center field, Peters took a little hop back, and now a couple steps. He makes the catch for the second out of the inning. And holding at first base is Corbin Paxton. So now A.J. DiFilippo to the plate. And DiFilippo popped out his last time. Interestingly enough, on that sort of play, though the catcher for the Hornell Dodgers in this play I'm thinking of was all the way at the backstop pretty much. It was the first time I've ever seen such a thing, but DiFilippo recorded an RBI sacrifice pop-out as Dennison loops one towards first base. Cherno was at third base. DiFilippo popped it up. The catch was made, and Cherno tagged and scored. First one to AJ is an off-speed pitch just off the plate on the outside corner. Ball 1, the count 1 ball and no strikes to the Columbia product. And Dennison has the sign ready to deal the 1-0. Here it is, and the fastball is lined out towards left center field. That will drop in for a base hit in front of the left fielder, Baker. Stopping at second base is Corbin Paxton, and the Flames have 2 runners on for the second inning in a row. Runners on first and second with 2 away. Here's third baseman Jared Grosguth. Lined out hard to the third baseman Derek Miller his last time up. It was quite the battle. Grosguth fouled off pitch after pitch. And on the 10th one, he hit a hard line drive that landed in the mitts of Derek Miller. He didn't have to move the glove a whole heck of a lot to make the catch on that scorching liner. Dennison looks over to the bag. Nobody's covering the first base bag. Now looking off Peterson at second. Breaking ball is low for ball 1. Count is 1 ball and no strikes. Grosguth 0 for 1 tonight as a result of that line drive. Dennison has the sign ready to deal the 1-0. Here it is, and the fastball's well outside. Tyler faked the pickoff throw back towards first, then looked off the runner at second. 2 balls and no strikes to Grosguth. So as we mentioned, the Flames off tomorrow. Every NYCBL team off tomorrow with the All-Star game at 6:30 at OCC Stadium. The Home Run Derby is at 5 p.m. featuring 3 players in the NYCBL, 2 in the East. As Grosguth swings and misses at a fastball. Strike 1, the count 2 balls and 1 strike. The participants from the Western Division is Cyrus Grimes of the Wellsville Nitros. Flames have only played him once and shut him down. And then the other 2 participants are Chris Turco of the Sherrill Silversmiths and Taylor Fajardo of the Syracuse Saltcats. Here's the 2-1 to Grosguth, and he grounds one hard towards short. Left side hold, snagged by Achilles. Long throw to first. Swipe tag is not in time as the throw was wide left. So the bases are now loaded with 2 away. An error charged officially to Luis Achilles, so that's the 3rd error of the night in total. The first by the Generals, and Jack Cherno, the center fielder, steps up to the plate with the bases loaded and 2 away. A golden opportunity to get the Flames on the scoreboard in this one, and on the scoreboard for the first time in 13 innings. And getting back to the Home Run Derby for just a second, you might recognize the name Taylor Fajardo of the Saltcats. As here's the first one to Cherno, and he'll hit one in the air to right field, charging in and making the catch is Christy Giacomo, and that will retire the side. So a little more on the Home Run Derby when we get back here on Flames Baseball. It is 2-0 Generals after the Flames strand 3 more base runners. Welcome back to Flames Baseball. 2-0 Generals after 3.5 innings of play. Flames stranded, the bases loaded in the top of the 4th inning. They have now stranded 6 runners in just 4 innings tonight on base. They have stranded 17 in the last 13 innings of play against the Generals and the Saltcats. Gunnar Grown, meanwhile, back to the mound. He faces Matt Baker to lead things off in the bottom of the 4th inning. First one to Baker, the right-handed batter, and the breaky ball is a beauty on the inside corner. Strike one, the count 0-1. So finishing up the NYCBL Home Run Derby tomorrow night, Taylor Fajardo hit a home run against the Flames last night in the 3-0 decision. A significant part of the victory for Syracuse. 0-1. Baker takes a breaky ball that finds the dirt. It's ball one, the count evens up at a ball and a strike. And speaking of home run derbies, in Major League Baseball, expect one name for sure to be in the home run derby next week after some developments tonight when it comes to the MLB All-Star Game. 1-1, Baker swings and misses at a fastball. Strike two, the count 1 ball and 2 strikes. Expect to hear the name Bryce Harper in the home run derby lineup for Major League Baseball next week because Harper is a starter for the National League in the MLB All-Star Game coming up on Tuesday in Washington, D.C. at Nationals Park. 1-2 from Grown, and the fastball is just inside on Baker. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And especially as someone from the D.C. area, that will be very fun to see if Harper lives up to his word and participates in the home run derby on Monday night. Here's a 2-2 from Gunnar, and the fastball's inside again, pretty much the same pitch. And it was a little closer to hitting him this time than the last one. Count runs full to 3 balls and 2 strikes. Sun is setting in the west, which is, from our vantage point, to our right, as the hitters at the plate will try and hit it south to the outfield at this park, Larry DeLutis Field in Rome, New York. As the payoff is a fastball outside for ball 4. So Grown misses with the last 3 pitches of the at-bat, and the leadoff man for the first time in the game reaches base. And that brings up Robert Anders out of the Flames dugout to talk to Gunnar Grown, Trace Peterson, and the entire Flames infield. So the Flames coming up after the All-Star Game on Monday. They will host the Capital City Reds from Ottawa at 5 p.m. on Tuesday night. Brandon Ross will have the call for you in that one. And then the next night, July 11th, at 7 p.m., the Flames host the Syracuse Saltcats. It's the 8th and final meeting of the season between the Flames and the Saltcats on Wednesday nights. And then I will have the call right back here in Rome for the Flames and the Generals on Friday nights at 6:30 p.m. And that will begin a stretch of 11 games in 10 days, weather permitting, to complete the regular season for the Flames. And that will be quite the stretch, and the most crucial stretch of the season for sure in a division race that is tightening up very quickly throughout this weekend going into the All-Star break. Here's the first baseman, Joe Bermonti, and the first pitch fastball is fouled back to the netting. Strike one, the count, no balls and a strike. He flied out to Jack Cherno in center field his first time up. He was the leadoff hitter in the bottom of the 2nd inning. Grown checks on the runner at first base. Has a sign from Trace, and the first fastball's high. Swung on a miss, throw it into center field from Peterson. Stolen base for Baker, and he's on to third. The throw is a little high, but not in time to get Baker regardless. So a stolen base and an error on Trace Peterson. The throw was up, and away as it landed into shallow center field on the fly. For Baker, meanwhile, a stolen base for him, and that is his 17th, count him, 17 stolen bases on the year for him, which is well ahead of everybody else on this general squad. And that is first on the team easily. 0-1 is the count to Bermonti. Meanwhile, here it is. And he swings and misses at pretty much the same pitch, a high fastball. And that is strike 3. Bramante goes down on 3 pitches. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night, sir. 1 away. Here's Kenny Michael, who reached base on a single his first time up. And he steps up to the plate with a runner on third and a 1 away. Right-hand batter recorded a broken bat single his first time up, and the breaky ball is on the inside corner for strike 1, the count 0-1. And what seems to be the issue for the Flames that has resulted in the Generals scoring their runs has been the errors in the field. Both teams have the same amount of hits. Each team has 4. Flames have actually had more base runners. As Michael pops it up into shallow right field. Brian Hart, the second baseman, calling for it. So is Matthews. Matthews calls him up, and he can't make the catch. It's a bouncer. He throws home to the plate, but well in time is Matt Baker to score. So it's another error on Colin Matthews. Speaking of mistakes in the field. And scoring is Baker on the E9. No RBI. And once again, an unearned run on the scoreboard for the Rome Generals. So it's 3-0 Rome on what is another miscue by the Flames. 4 innings and 4 errors now. 2 so far here in the 4th inning. As that brings up the catcher, Sean Tyler, with a 1 out and a runner on first base. First one to Tyler is a fastball swung on, missed. Big cut and a miss for strike 1. The count, no balls and a strike. So DiGiacomo back in the first inning. He reached third base after hitting a double on an error by Matthews. Second inning, Gunnar Groen threw the ball away on a pickoff attempt as the breaky ball is up and in on Tyler. 1 ball and 1 strike. And Kenny Michael, as a result of that throw away on the pickoff, went from first to third. He scored on the RBI single from Sean Tyler. DiGiacomo scored on the RBI ground out from Luis Atiles. Here's a 1-1, and Tyler grounds it to the left side. Snagged by O'Connor. Throw to second is in time. Back to first. It throws a little high, but Paxton's foot finds the bag in time for the inning-ending double play. A 6-4-3 twin killer, and that will end the inning. But not before 2 errors result in another run on the scoreboard for the Rome Generals. It's 3-0 after 4 innings of play from Larry DeLutis Field. Welcome back to Flames Baseball. Generals ahead of the Flames 3-0 after 4 innings of play tonight. McLean O'Connor at the top of the order to lead things off for Onondaga in the top of the 5th inning. And it's time to take a look around the league at the NYCBL out-of-town scoreboard, and a lot of action to catch you up on already on this Sunday, July 8th, as O'Connor steps in against Josh Dennison for his 5th inning of work tonight. And the first pitch is low and away for ball one. The count 1 ball, no strikes. 3 finals, 3 games in action, and 1 to come. As here's the 1-0. O'Connor grounds it hard towards short, snagged by Achilles. He does a 360. The throw to first is in time. Nifty play from Luis Achilles, and that is the first out of the inning. That brings up the DH, Mike Netzel, as we take a quick look at the scoreboard. So, out west, out in the Wild West, 2 finals so far in this on this day. The Olean Oilers 5-4 winners over the Wilsonville Nitros, who have gone down quite a bit as of late. They have lost 5 in a row, and they are down to 17-14, tied for second in the division with the Niagara Power and the Oilers. As Netzel chops one towards short, easier play for Achilles, and he guns it a first for the out for the second out of the inning. Here's the second baseman Brian Hart now, and then also the Rochester Regiment, who are playing as good baseball playing as well as the Wilsonville Nitros are not right now. The Regiment 11-1 winners over the Genesee Rapids today. They're 19-11 with the best record in the league. The Rapids down to 13-16, 3 games back of the final playoff spot in the West. Fastball is high for ball 1 to Hart. He squared up the butt but pulled it back to 1 ball, no strike count. And then in the bottom of the 8th inning in Hornell, the Dodgers have a 14-1 lead on the Niagara Power. Fastball's outside for ball 2. The count 2 balls and no strikes. So the way that shapes out the West is the Dodgers, well, they're still squarely in last place. They will be 8-19 if the result holds. As Hart hits it to center field, easy play for Peters. Takes a few steps to his left and makes the catch. We'll finish up the out-of-town scoreboard when we get back here on Flames Baseball. Flames go down 1-2-3. We're halfway home. It's 3-0 Generals. This is Flames Baseball. Welcome back. Set to begin the bottom of the 5th inning. 3-0 Generals against the Onondaga Flames tonight after 4.5 innings from Larry DeLutis Field in Rome, New York. Continuing our look at the out-of-town scoreboard as the second baseman Tony Perino steps in this inning. 8-9-1 in the Rome General order this inning. To begin with, at least, against Gunnar Groen. First pitch fastball in the lower third of the zone. Strike 1, the count, no balls and a strike. And so the game is final now in Hornell between the Dodgers and the Power. Dodgers win at 14-2, which shakes up the West just a little bit in regards to that final playoff spot and the second 2 through 4 spots. Fastball misses. It gets the outside corner, rather. Strike 2, the count, no balls and 2 strikes. Oleana Oilers are tied with the Wellsville Nitros for second place now. And the Niagara Power, with the loss today, will drop down to 4th and out of the playoffs if the season ended today, which of course it doesn't. 0-2 fastball is up and away. That's ball 1. The count 1 ball and 2 strikes to Perino. But what matters to the Flames is what's happening in the East, and some developments for sure so far today. We'll get to those after this pitch. 1-2. Fastball low and in the dirt. 2 balls and 2 strikes. One game that has ended already of concern to the Flames especially, and is a doubleheader in Sherrill. The first game went to the Spartans, 12-9 over the Sherrill Silversmiths. Game 2 coming up in just a little bit. So the Spartans improved to 15-13 on the year. The Silversmiths dropped to 16-14, which means the Flames keep sole possession of first place going into the All-Star break as Groen freezes Perino with the breaking ball. Got him looking on the beautiful pitch, and it's his third strikeout of the night for the first out here in the 5th inning. Here's the center fielder, Steven Peters. He grounded out to second his first time up. And then meanwhile in Cortland, the Cortland Crush, they've been playing good baseball as of late, and they are leading the Syracuse Saltcats 7-1 in the bottom of the 8th inning right now. First one to Peters from Gunner is a breaky ball over the plate. And then time is called by the home plate umpire, and he's given a warning to the Rome General dugout. So Tony Perino did not like that third strike call. So the Generals get a warning as a result. Or just Perino. Likely just Perino. The home plate umpire did not give a strike call. Our guess is the breaking ball was a little high. Yes, it was. 1 ball and no strikes to Peters. It was a similar pitch to the one that struck out Perino looking. As here's the 1-0. And Peters chops it off the plate towards short. Snagged out of the air by Connor, and then he bobbled it. 5th error already tonight by the Flames in 5 innings. And there's a runner on first with 1 away. My goodness. 5 errors tonight for the Flames in just 5 innings. They have more errors than hits on the scoreboard, as here is the third baseman, Derek Miller, at the top of the order. So getting back to the Eastern Division, with the Cortland Crush up on the Syracuse Saltcats, the race gets just a little tighter, and even tighter if the Generals end up holding on to their 3-0 lead in this game. Here's the first one to Miller, and he lays a bunt down the third base line. Snagged by Grosku, throws on the run to first base. It is not in time, and Derek Miller has his second bunt single in a row. How about that by Derek Miller? And there are runners on first and second with 1 away, as here is the right fielder, Chris DiGiacomo. This one a little bit on the Flames defense, more so than the last bunt single by Miller, because you got to think that the Flames should have been expecting it just a little bit after the successful bunt single that didn't even result in a play at first base back in the 3rd inning. Groskuth made a running throw, a good effort, but it was not in time to get Miller that time. First one to DiGiacomo is a fastball up and away. Ball 1, the count, 1 ball, no strikes. And once again, 3 runs scored by the Rome Generals in this game, but none of them have been earned. So none of them charged to the ERA of Gunnar Groen yet. 1-0. And DiGiacomo lines it into right field. That drops in front of Matthews for a base hit. He gets it off a hop. Rounding third, and hey, home is Peters. Here's a throw. It's up the left field line, and it gets to the backstop. Now heading home is the runner Miller, and he's in safely. And DiGiacomo on a single gets to third base on the throw and the error. 2 more in for the Generals. And it is 5-0 here in the 5th inning. So Matthews will record his third error of the game, and that is the Flames' sixth error in this contest. My goodness.
No runs earned right now.
And still no earned runs charged to Gunnar Groen in this one. And perhaps more damage to come from this Generals offense with a runner on third and one away. Here's Luis Atiles, the shortstop. And the infield is in for the Flames, and they must try and keep this game as close as possible. Down 5-0 now. First one to Atiles is a breaky ball low and away. That's ball one. The count, 1 ball, no strikes. It was snagged beautifully by Peterson. And taking a look at that Eastern Division, so the Flames are 17-12 in front of the Silversmiths by a game and a half right now, in front of the Syracuse Spartans also by a game and a half. They are tied for second place, and they have the only 2 other playoff spots in the East Division right now. Atiles pops it up left side of the infield. O'Connor, the shortstop, calling off everybody, and he makes the catch. And that is a big out number 2 recorded by Gunnar Groen, by McLean O'Connor, as Gunnar Groen gets the pop out from Atiles. Here's the left fielder, Matt Baker, who came around to score on an error in the 4th inning. Baker 0 for 1 tonight with a flyout and a walk. In 4th place is the Cortland Crush, and the Crush, leading on the Saltcats, look to be improving their record again. They are 13-15 on the year, soon to be 14-15 if the score holds up against the Saltcats. Baker grounds it hard, but just foul down the left field line. It's strike 1, the count, no balls and a strike. And so the Crush at the moment is 3.5 back of the Flames. And the Saltcats, meanwhile, at 12-16 in 5th place, perhaps soon to be 12-17, will be 4.5 back. Rome Generals 12-17, but the Generals will inch closer to the Flames if the score holds in this one, though a lot of baseball left to play. Breaking balls outside, ball on a strike to Baker. Entering NYCBL action tonight, the East Division was separated top to bottom by 5 games. Now still separated by 5 top to bottom as the breaky ball is low and away. Peterson wants to check with the field umpire. The throw gets away from Groen, and heading home is DiGiacomo. The throw into the plate gets to the backstop. DiGiacomo scores, and that's the 7th error of the night by the Flames. My goodness. Wow. Another error by the Flames, and that's 7 in 5 innings. Not a whole lot else you can say about their performance in the field so far tonight. Wow. They have more errors than the Rome Generals have runs now. It's 6-0 Rome, and the Flames have 7 errors. 1-2, the count meanwhile to Baker, and he swings and misses at a fastball, and that will retire the side. But not before the Flames record 3 more errors, and as a result, 3 runs come around to score for the Generals. 6-0 Rome after 5 innings of play from Larry DeLutis Field. Welcome back to Flames Baseball. A pinch hitter to lead things off for Onondaga. Mike Stefan is pinch hitting for Colin Matthews. Matthews was 0 for 2 at the plate tonight, but if there are any pinch hitters for the Flames tonight, it shows that if it says anything, it's about hits and play in the field as well, because the Flames have recorded 7 errors so far in this game through 5 innings. As the first pitch to Stefan is blown away. Ball 1, the count, 1 ball, no strikes. And yes, you did hear me correctly. That is 7 errors by the Flames through 5 innings of play so far tonight. 1-0 to Stefan is a fastball on the outside corner. Strike 1, the count, 1 ball, and 1 strike. Stefan has appeared in the last 2 games for the Flames. Last night, 0 for 2 at the plate, as the off-speed pitch just misses the zone. Ball 2, the count, 2 balls and 1 strike. And quietly, through all the madness that has been the Flames' defense so far tonight, Josh Dennison has put together quite the game on the mound through 5 innings so far. 2-1 to Stefan, just misses, and it's the 3-ball, 1 strike count. 89 pitches so far for Dennison. He has only allowed 4 hits, and the Flames have stranded 6 base runners against him. 3-1 fastball misses outside for ball 4, and Mike Stefan works a leadoff walk to begin the 6th inning as Corbin Paxton steps up to the plate. And for Stefan on the year, that is his 15th walk of the season, adding to the Flames' league-leading total. And getting back to the errors, the Flames, well, they were in the middle of the pack coming into this one in terms of errors. They were 7th in the league with 39 of them. And this will get him up just a little bit lower in the rankings for that stat at 46 now in the year. Fastball stays high for ball 1, the count, 1 ball, no strikes to Paxton. 3 errors tonight from Colin Matthews, 2 from Trace Peterson, 1 from Gunnar Groen, and 1 from McLean O'Connor as the fastball finds the outside corner. Count evens up at a ball and a strike. So the Flames, they have 4 innings left to try and come back from this 6-0 deficit, and the offense hasn't scored a run since the 7th inning on Friday night. Time is called by the home plate umpire. Dennison had the sign, but he was still waiting to deal to the plate, and Paxton requested time and was granted by the home plate umpire. Left-hand batter steps in once again against the righty on the mound. Dennison above 90 pitches now, and Paxton hits it in the air off the end of the bat towards center field. Hit pretty well, though, off the end of the bat. And Peters makes the catch, however, for the first out of the top of the 6th. And that brings up the catcher, Trace Peterson. Peterson 1 for 2 tonight with a single back in the 2nd inning and a fly out to center in the 4th. Flames so far in this one have stranded 6 runners on base, 17 in the last 14 innings of play. Not going to win many ball games when you're doing that, as the throw over to first is not in time. Not even a tag applied to try and get Mike Stefan over there. And the Flames offense, as we mentioned, in their worst slump as a team so far this year, as the breaking ball's on the outside corner. No balls and 1 strike. And when it's not working, they still find a way to get runners on base. In the top of the 5th inning, that was the only time they didn't get a runner on base so far in this game. Fastball's on the outside corner. Meanwhile, no balls and 2 strikes. And the Flames went down to 1-2-3 very quickly in that inning. But they get runners on base throughout every game, it seems like, but as throw of the first is not a time to get Mike Stefan. The key is getting those runners home, and that's how you win ball games, by scoring runs, of course, on the scoreboard when it really comes down to it, and the Flames just haven't done that. As Peterson pops it up behind home plate. Going after it is the catcher, Sean Tyler, and he makes the catch for out number 2. So Tyler records catches the pop-up from his counterpart. And there are 2 away in the inning with Mike Stefan still at first base. Here's A.J. DiFilippo, 1 for 2 on the night. And so getting to that, my point about getting runners on base, for the Flames, only 2 hitters at the plate. 2 hitters in the order tonight have not reached base. Rather, 3. 3 batters have not reached base. That's Brian Hart, Colin Matthews, and Jack Cherno. Matthews was pinch hit for by Stefan to begin the inning. Breaky ball's on the inside corner for strike 1. The count, no balls and a strike. And DiFilippo reached on a base hit into left center field his last time up. Before that, a pop out to the catcher, Sean Tyler. Very much like the one Trace Peterson just popped up. Fastball's outside for ball 1. The count evens up at a ball and a strike to DiFilippo. Now the Flames' season stats have not taken a huge hit to this point offensively. Throw over to first is not in time to get Stefan. Still 9th in the league in batting average. That has been pretty consistent for the last week or two. With a 271 average. Still up there in extra base when it comes to their extra base hits. 45 doubles, 13 triples, 10 home runs. Fastball is up and in for ball 2. The count 2 balls and a 1 strike. DiFilippo had to duck and cover, but he's okay up there. Flames have average a little more than 6 runs per game, a little more than 9 hits per game, which are both in the top half of the league. But they strike out a lot. They have the second most strikeouts in the league at 220 as DiFilippo hits a high pop-up right side of the shallow right field, and the second baseman, Tony Perino, makes the catch to retire the side. Another runner stranded this inning by the Flames. That brings the total up to 7 in this one, and it's still 6-0 Generals heading to the bottom of the 6th. This is Flames baseball. Welcome back to Flames baseball. A couple defensive changes to note for the Flames. So Mike Stefan pinch hit for Colin Matthews in the last half inning. He stays in to play left field. And then moving from left field to right field is A.J. DiFilippo. 5-6-7 in the Rome order to begin the bottom of the 6th inning against Gunnar Groen, who, despite giving up 6 runs, has not allowed an earned run so far in this one, as the breaky ball just misses the outside corner. That's ball 1, the count 1 ball and no strikes. Bramante 0 for 2 tonight with a fly out to center and a strikeout swinging for the Generals Ironman, having played in all 30 games now so far this year. 1-0 fouled out of play to the right side. Count evens up at a ball and a strike to Bramante. So taking a look at the stats from a night ago for the Generals, Bramante was 1 for 3, and he scored 3 runs. As here is the 1-1, and Bramante pops it up right side. In foul territory, Paxton, DiFilippo, and Hart going after it, but that ball is out of play into the general bullpen. 1 ball and 2 strikes now, the count to Joe Bramante. And an interesting note on Gunnar Groen is he might keep going for another inning or 2 after this because his pitch count is at 68. We'll see how this inning goes and if the Flames go to the bullpen at all tonight. As the 1-2 count is coming, 1-2 pitch rather is coming from Gunnar. Pearson set up outside, and the fastball is grounded towards third base. Bobbled by Groskuth. He picks it up. The throw to first base is not in time. And that is the 8th error of the game by the Flames. Add Jared Groskuth to the list of Flames who have committed an error tonight. So that is 8 errors for the Flames and 6 runs for the Generals. Here's the DH, Kenny Michael. And Michael, an evening ago, was 2 for 4. He scored 3 runs himself, and he drove in a run. Every single, not quite every single Rome hitter last night reached base or scored a run, but, well, rather recorded a hit and scored a run, but most did in that 20-9 victory. First one of Michael's a fastball up and in. That is ball 1, the count 1 ball and no strikes. Every hitter at the plate, except for 3, scored a run. Every hitter except 4 recorded a hit. And there were 4 pinch hitters, so every starter recorded a hit. Breaking ball is low and in, rather the fastball is low and in. 2 balls and no strikes. It caught the dirt, but Peterson kept it in front of him. Michael has reached base in each of his first 2 play appearances, a single in the second inning. He'd advanced to third on a throwing error by Gunnar Groen on a pickoff during the next at-bat, and he scored on the RBI single by Sean Tyler. And then he reached base on an E9 in the 4th. 2-0. Michael pops it up right side. That one's going to get out of play. It's strike 1, the count 2 balls and 1 strike. And Michael, last night, a pretty good hitter, of course, for the Generals with those 2 hits. Throw over to first is not in time to get Bramante. And Michael is batting .282 on the year coming into this one. He has another hit tonight. He's 1 for 2 overall at the plate. 21 hits on the year and now 25 games. 2-1 is fouled away to the right side, and that's going to get out of play too. Count evens up at 2 balls and 2 strikes with the runner on first and nobody out here in the bottom of the 6th inning. 6-0 Generals. Once again, the Flames' next game is against the Capital City Reds. Capital City Reds from Ottawa. That'll be an exhibition match on Tuesday night at 5 p.m. From OCC. 2-2 pitch, just misses the zone. Throw it out to second is not in time to get Bramante. Throw was a little left, but Hart snags it. Stolen base for Bramante, and that's number 8 of the season for him. Runner in scoring position and nobody out now for the Rome Generals. So Michael with a chance now to drive in a run. He has 9 RBIs on the year. 3-2 rather from Gunnar is a breaking ball high for ball 4. Another walk by Gunnar Groen, but that just his 2nd of the game. And there are runners on first and second with nobody out, and that brings out pitching coach Robert Anders from the dugout. There is a pitcher warming up in the Flames bullpen, but it is so far away and out of our vantage point that we can't tell who it is. Rather, there's a new pitcher coming in for the Flames. Gunnar Groen's night is done after 5+ innings. We'll tell you about the new pitcher when we come back. This is Flames Baseball. New pitcher for the Flames is Chris Burnett out of Cal Poly Pomona. And Burnett's first reliever of the night for the Flames. Runners on first and second with nobody out here in the bottom of the sixth inning after Gunnar Groen comes out of the game after a 5+ inning start tonight. First one from Burnett, and the fastball is fouled back to the screen. It's strike one, the count, no balls, and 1 strike. Burnett has a 90+ mile per hour fastball, and, well, he just showed it off right there as Sean Tyler kept up with it and fouled it back to the screen. Burnett, interestingly enough, so far this year, he's allowed 4 earned runs. However, they have all come against the Syracuse Spartans, including his last outing on Friday night. 0-1. That's a breaking ball, but it just misses the inside corner. Ball 1, the count evens up at a ball and a strike. So the line for Gunnar Groen for now, it's still an open book when it comes to runs. 5 innings plus, 6 hits, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts, 6 runs, none of them earned. As here is the 1-1 to Sean Tyler. And the breaking ball is a beauty on the outside corner. Strike 2, the count, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Tyler at the plate, meanwhile, is 1 for 2 tonight with an RBI single. Burnett making his 11th appearance of the year, which is tied for the most on the team as the breaking ball misses outside. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Rather tied for the second most on the team behind Jimmy Flahive, who has 13 appearances on the year. 11 for Burnett, Keon Taylor, and Jake Griffin. And Burnett so far has pitched 12 innings, allowing 4 runs, all of them earned. 2-2. Swing and a miss by Tyler at the fastball. Overpowers him that time, and that is the first out of the inning. Burnett's first strikeout of the night. And here's the second baseman, Tony Perino. Burnett has only walked 3 batters, and he has struck out now 17 on the year. And he has no record, and an ERA at exactly 3 coming into this one tonight. So here is the second baseman, Tony Perino, 0 for 2 tonight with a ground ball double play and also a strikeout look and a call he disputed, and as a result got a warning for it because he kept arguing about the call after the first pitch of the next at-bat against Steven Peters. First pitch in the dirt for ball 1, the count 1 ball and no strikes. So Perino, one of only 4 strikeout victims by Gunnar Groen tonight. That's his highest strikeout total of the season since he usually pitches to contact. Didn't work out too well for him tonight, given the amount of miscues by the Flames defense as the breaking ball is low. Ball 2, the count 2 balls and no strikes. Once again, 8 errors by the Flames defense, including 1 more this inning by Jared Grosguth. The third inning so far has been the only inning in which the Flames haven't recorded an error. Runners are going, the pitch is outside. The throw down to third gets down the left field line. Coming home and scoring is Joe Bramante, and to third base is Kenny Michael, and that will be Trace Peterson's 3rd error of the game and the 9th by the Flames. It is a double steal successfully, but the runners get their next bases as a result of the error. So another unearned run that will be charged to Gunnar Groen. So for Bramante, meanwhile, that is stolen base number 8 on the year. And for Kenny Michael, that is stolen base number 3, as that is lined into left field for a base hit by Perino. Coming in to score is Kenny Michael, and it's 8-0 Generals now. On the RBI hit from Tony Perino. And here is Steven Peters after Perino's first hit of the night, and this one is getting ugly right now here in the 6th inning. For Perino, that is his 4th RBI of the season. Throw over to first is not in time. So that will be 8 runs charged to Gunnar Groen. And from the looks of it, none of them are earned. 8 runs, 0 earned. So Gunnar Groen's ERA goes down despite giving up 8 runs. And Peters lines it towards right field. That is caught by DiFilippo on the run. Hustling back to first base is Tony Perino. And that's the second out of the inning. Derek Miller, the third baseman, now to the plate. Sorry for hopping off the headset for a second, folks. I had to get rid of a bee on my nose. So now the third baseman, Derek Miller, steps up to the plate, and he's 2 for 3 tonight. Breaky ball is just off the outside corner. Ball 1, the count 1 ball and no strikes. Miller is 2 for 3 tonight with a run scored. His last 2 at-bats were both bunt singles, as the throw to first is not in time to get Tony Perino. 8 runs, 7 hits, 1 error for the Rome Generals. No runs, 4 hits, 9 errors for the Onondaga Flames. 1-0. Fastball on the outside corner, strike 1. The count evens up at a ball and a strike. Miller entered the game batting .366 in his first 13 games of the season. 17 hits on the year now as the throw to first is not in time. He was actually injured since June 16th for the Generals, so this is the first time the Flames have seen him, and he has been very good at the plate. 1-1. Miller chops it past the mound, gloved at second by Brian Hart, and he taps the bag for the final out of the inning. A fielder's choice to end the inning, but not before two more errors by the Flames result in 2 more runs. And it is 8-0 Generals going into the 7th inning in tonight's contest. This is Flames baseball. Welcome back to Flames baseball, set to begin the top of the 7th inning. And leading things off for the second inning in a row for the Flames is a pinch hitter. And it will be Jake Evans leading things off against Jared Groskuth, who was 0 for 2 on the night with a line out, and he reached on an E6. The only error of the night not by the Flames on the 10 total. As Mike Cordero is heading to the home plate umpire to get the changes straightened out, which is just one simple change. Jake Evans pitching for Jared Groskuth for now. Just one. Mike Ruggiero, meanwhile, from the looks of it, is warming up in the Flames bullpen. Down the left field line, way down in the left field line. As Mike Cordero continues to talk to the home plate umpire. Evans appeared in last night's game against the Salt Cats. He was 0 for 2. He reached base on a fielder's choice, and he recorded his first stolen base of the season. The Flames had 3 stolen bases last night, and Jake Evans had 1 of them for his first of the season. And so Evans, the right-handed batter, steps in against Josh Dennison in his 7th inning of work in tonight's start, in which he has kept the Flames off the scoreboard. First pitch is in there for strike one. The count, no balls and one strike to Evans to begin his night at the plate. Here's the quick 0-1, and the breaky pitch misses the inside corner. Ball one, the count evens up at a ball and a strike. Dennison at 102 pitches now in his outing tonight as the 1-1 breaky ball is blown away for ball two. The count, 2 balls and 1 strike. And there doesn't seem to be anybody warming up in the general bullpen, interestingly enough, from our vantage point. As Evans hits one pretty well to center field. Peters chasing back towards the left center field wall. That's over his head, and that will get to the wall. Evans rounds first and heads for 2. He will put on the brakes after a big turnaround second base. And then the tag is in time on the relay. 8-6-3 on the putout as Jake Evans took too big of a turn around second base. And he was tagged out trying to get back to the bag. Another miscue by the Flames on the double and the 8-6-3. And here is Jack Cherno with 1 out in the inning. So that erases the good hit from Jake Evans as Josh Dennison shakes his teammates' hands after that one. And he is heading off after a fantastic start tonight. We'll tell you about the new pitcher for the Generals when we come back. New pitcher for the Rome Generals, and we don't know who it is yet because this player, number 32, is not on the official roster, interestingly enough. We are getting that information right now. It is Will Wrighton. He is 42 on the roster, 32 tonight as the fastball is outside. Ball one, the count, 1 ball and no strikes. That is new information. Will Wrighton, the pitcher for the Rome Generals. First reliever of the night, Will Wrightley rather, as the fastball finds the outside corner to Cherno. 1 ball and 1 strike. Dennison pitched 6th and a 3rd innings, allowing 5 hits. Didn't allow a run. As here's the 1-1. Cherno fouls it back to the netting. Strike 2, the count, 1 ball and 2 strikes. For Dennison, he served 3 walks and he struck out 3 guys in what was a superb outing tonight, in which he will likely record the victory. Interestingly enough, neither pitcher gave up an earned run, but the Generals are well ahead in this one regardless, as Cherno fouls it away to the left side. Count remains 1 ball and 2 strikes. Cherno 0 for 2 on the night. Meanwhile, Will Wrightley also attends Ohio State University Mansfield. And he is an Ohio native, the right-handed pitcher. Fastball up and away for ball 2. The count evens up at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Wrightley 6'1", 185-pound right-hand pitcher. He'll be a sophomore in the fall. 2-2, Cherno reaches out and fouls it off to the left side, and that one's just going to get out of play despite Miller chasing after it. Count remains at 2-2 strikes. So here's Will Wrightley's stats. This is his 5th appearance of the year. He has 2 starts in his first 4. 11 1/3 innings, 8 runs, 7 earned. Walks have been his trouble. Have been the trouble for Wrightley. 12 walks, 10 strikeouts. He has a 1-0 record, and he has recorded 1 save so far this season. Here's a 2-2, and the breaking ball is a beauty. That freezes Cherno for strike 3. And that is the second out of the inning on a strikeout looking. Great pitch from Wrightley, and here comes a pinch hitter for the Flames. It is Reed Gibbs, number 27 for the Flames. Reed Gibbs making pinch hitting for McLean O'Connor. O'Connor, meanwhile, was 0 for 2 tonight. Did reach on a walk. He was stranded. He was caught stealing to end the 3rd inning. Gibbs takes the fastball over the plate for strike 1. The count, no balls and a strike. And the common thread among the 3 fielders who have been pinch hit for tonight is they've each committed an error, but many players have committed an error, so that's not really too much of a factor as Gibbs fouls it off to the left side, and Mike Cordero unfortunately mishandles it down the third base line, but no harm. He's just the third base coach, not a fielder in this situation, of course. No balls and 2 strikes quickly on Gibbs with 2 outs and nobody on in an 8-0 game. 0-2 fastball gets him looking on the outside corner. Will Wrightley's pitches are working tonight as he strikes out the only 2 batters he faces in the 7th inning of the looking variety. 7th inning stretch from Larry DeLutis Field in Rome, New York, and it's 8-0 Generals. Welcome back to Flames Baseball. A multitude of changes in the field for Onondaga, and they all come in the infield. So Reed Gibbs pinch hit in the top half of the inning. He's in at second base, and McLean O'Connor's spot in the order. Jake Evans, another pinch hitter, and Jared Grosku's spot in the order, is playing shortstop. And then coming in to play third base is Nick Garcia. He is in Brian Hart's spot in the order. And there's a new pitcher now for the Flames. So he's making his 2nd appearance of the season on the mound. It's Mike Ruggiero. And he pitched a scoreless inning here in Rome last week. As here's the first one to Christy Giacomo. The fastball is up and away. Ball 1, the count, 1 ball, no strikes. Ruggiero relieves Chris Burnett, who finished out the 6th inning. as DiGiacomo fouls it away. 1 ball and 1 strike. Burnett finished out the 6th inning. 1 inning pitched for him, 1 hit, no walks, 1 strikeout, and no runs charged at him. 1-1. DiGiacomo pops it up, left side, foul territory. Garcia started charging toward it, but it's going to get out of play. 1 ball and 2 strikes to DiGiacomo. The outfield, however, stays the same with Stefan in left and Cherno in center and DiFilippo in right field. 1-2. DiGiacomo chops it towards first base. Picked on a hop by Paxton, and he makes the play at first base for the first out here in the bottom of the 7th inning. So that brings up the shortstop, Luis Atiles. After the ground out to first by Chris DiGiacomo. Atiles 0 for 3 tonight, though he did drive in a run with a ground out in the 1st inning. First pitch fastball on the outside corner. It's strike 1, the count, no balls, and 1 strike. Atiles a native of the Dominican Republic as he hits one hard towards short, picked there by Evans. Long throw to first is in time for the out. Good play to get the 2nd out of the inning by Jake Evans, a new substitution into the game for the Flames. And here is the left fielder, Matt Baker, who is 0 for 2 tonight. As mentioned earlier tonight, he is usually the leadoff hitter in the order, at least against the Flames in the first 3 games. As the first one is a fastball on the outside corner for strike 1. The count, no balls and a strike. But batting 4th tonight with Derek Miller's return to the order. 0-1 to Baker, breaking ball low and away, ball 1. The count evens up at a ball and a strike. We're almost 2 hours and 15 minutes into tonight's game, and it's 8-0 Generals with 2 outs at the bottom of the 7th. Baker hits it hard towards second base. Bad hop on Gibbs, but he's able to snag it, and the throw to first is in time. Great play by Reed Gibbs off the bad hop to end the inning, and that retires the side. Down go the Generals, 1-2-3. How about a bright spot for the Flames? On to the 8th, it's 8-0 Rome. This is Flames baseball. Welcome back to Flames baseball. 2-3-4 in the Onondaga order after the last half, and it was easily their best so far in this game defensively. A 1-2-3 inning in which Jake Evans and Reed Gibbs each made a snazzy play to get an out on a ground ball. Netzel faces Will Wrightley in his first full inning of work tonight out of the pen, and the first pitch to Netzel is a fastball that just misses. Ball 1, the count, 1 ball and no strikes. Netzel's been a pretty good bright spot in the order for the Flames tonight and last night, as the 1-0 fastball is outside for ball 2, the count, 2 balls and no strikes. Netzel was 3 for 5 in last night's game against the Saltcats, and he's 1 for 2 tonight, reaching on a base hit and a walk. 2-0. Off speed finds the outside corner for strike 1, the count, 2 balls and a strike to the Flames' designated hitter. Wrightley has the sign ready to deal the 2-1 as he's back in the at-bat. Here it is, and the breaking ball is low and in for ball 3. Count, 3 balls and 1 strike. Game between the Flames and the Generals here tonight is the only one left at action after the Cortland Crush finished off the Syracuse Saltcats by the score of 7-1 as Netzel fouls it away to the right side. So the Cortland Crush improves to 14-15 on the year, now 3 games back of the Flames for first place, and a game and a half back of the Syracuse Spartans and the Sherrill Silversmiths for the final playoff spot in the Eastern Division. Here's payoff, and Netzel fouls it over the netting and out of play behind home plate. And the count remains full with 3 balls and 2 strikes. And so that East Division just keeps getting tighter and tighter, and with tonight's results, it may get even closer with 4 games top to bottom in the division. 4.5 rather, as Netzel pops it up into shallow center field. Steven Peters calling off everybody. He makes the catch for the first out here in the 8th inning. With the Saltcats losing tonight, they'll be 12-17, and the Flames right now, if the score holds up, would drop to 17-13 on the year. They would still own first place in the Eastern Division going into the All-Star break, the very short All-Star break for them. But just 4.5 games separate all 6 teams if this score holds right now. Nick Garcia up at the plate for his first at-bat of the day. And the first pitch fastball is on the outside corner. Strike 1, the count, no balls and a strike. Garcia came in as a defensive substitution in the last half inning at third base. He takes over for Brian Hart's spot in the order. 0-1. Garcia takes a big cut and a miss at a fastball. It's strike 2, the count, no balls and 2 strikes. Hart went 0 for 3 with 2 flyouts and a strikeout swinging. 0-2. Garcia fouls it away to the left side. That one gets out of play. And that count remains no balls and 2 strikes, as that last pitch was Will Wrightley's 20th so far in the game. Garcia 6 of 26 at the plate in 12 games as a hitter coming into this one. As the 0-2 breaking ball stays outside. Ball 1, the count, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Garcia has scored 5 times. He has driven in 1. That was an RBI triple back on June 4th against the Rochester Ridgemen. Of his 6 hits, 1 double, 1 triple. As Garcia swings and misses at a fastball for strike 3, and that is the second out of the 8th inning. So here is Mike Stefan, who walked to lead off the 6th inning as a pinch hitter. And now he's the left fielder up for his second plate appearance of the night. Stefan, a left-handed batter this time up. Normally a switch hitter, and he most of the time with a lot of mostly right-handed pitchers in the league, he bats left-handed. First one to him is a fastball high. Ball 1, the count, 1 ball, no strikes. A couple times when he's starting a ball game, you know in the order he's actually been the second batter in the order. Normally we don't see that with the Flames, but in the last week he has twice batted second in the order as the fastball is high for ball 2. Count 2 balls and no strikes. And he has been a pretty good hitter for the Flames productively. RBI single against the Spartans 2 nights ago. And here is the 2-0 fastball low and in on Stefan. 3 balls and no strikes, and he's 1 pitch away from working his second walk of the night. On deck for the Flames, another pinch hitter. If we get there this inning, it is Casey Kretsch, potentially pinch hitting for Corbin Paxton if this inning continues. Here is the 3-0 to Stefan, and the fastball is just low for ball 4. 4-pitch walk to Mike, and the Flames have a 2-out base runner, and that brings up Casey Kretsch, the fifth defensive substitution of the night for the Flames. And we have seen all 5 of them in the last 3 innings. Kretsch normally a third baseman, so we'll see how that shakes up the field. Kretsch taking the spot of Corbin Paxton in the order. Paxton 1 for 3 on the night with a single and a strikeout. Kretsch has only 15 at-bats so far this year as a hitter. He's been primarily a pitcher, though he has appeared in 8 games as a hitter. 3 of 15 at the plate, 3 runs scored. And of his 3 hits, 1 double, and he's driven in 2. 2 outs and Stefan at first. The first one to Kretsch is a fastball in the outside corner. That's strike 1, the count, no balls, and 1 strike to Casey. Casey Kretsch, of course, a product of Lemoyne College, local kid. From Jamesville, New York, graduate of Jamesville DeWitt High School. As the fastball in the outside corner. Quickly, no ball, 2 strike count on the Flames pinch hitter this time up. Only got 7 at-bats with Lemoyne this past season as Kretsch takes the fastball high for ball 1. The count 1 ball and 2 strikes. Nobody to warm up in the Flames pen, and no reason to after the great 7th inning that Mike Ruggiero put together on the mound. As the 1-2 is swung on a miss for strike 3, and Kretsch strikes out in his pinch hit appearance. On to the bottom of the 8th inning. Flames still trail the Generals 8-0 from Rome, New York. Welcome back to Flames baseball. 2 changes for the Flames in the field. Staying in to play third base is Casey Kretsch, and moving from third base to first base is Nick Garcia. Joe Bramante to lead things off against Mike Ruggiero. First pitch fastball just off the outside corner. Ball 1, the count 1 ball, no strikes. Ruggiero on for his second full inning of relief, and he recorded a 1-2-3 inning in the last half inning. As Bramante swings and misses at a fastball for strike 1. Count evens up at a ball and a strike. Ruggiero only pitched in 1 game for Wagner College in 2018 as Bramante fouls it back to the screen. 1 ball and 2 strikes. And he only pitched a third of an inning, allowing 1 hit, 1 run, and that run was earned. And then this season, just the 1 appearance against the Generals before this one, as the fastball's blown away. 2 balls and 2 strikes. So both of his appearances on the mound have come against the Rome Generals. And the first one was a scoreless inning, striking out 1 batter. 2-2, breaking ball low and away for ball 3. And the count runs full now to 3 balls and 2 strikes. Here is the payoff, and Bramante fouls it away to the right side. And the count remains full at 3 balls and 2 strikes.
3-2 for Bramante.
And so Ruggiero, both of his appearances so far this year have come here at Larry DeLutis Field against the Rome Generals as the fastball is high for ball 4. So Bramante reaches base for the 2nd time in this game. And there's a runner on first to begin the inning with Kenny Michael, the DH, coming to the plate. Michael is 1 for 2 tonight, and he's reached base in all 3 of his plate appearances. First one to him is fouled away to the right side. That gets out of play. Strike one, the count, no balls and a strike. So once again, the All-Star game tomorrow between the NYCBL and the ACBL at OCC Stadium. As the fastball's on the outside corner, no balls and 2 strikes. One All-Star for the Flames in the field right now, that is Nick Garcia, though an All-Star as a pitcher. As the 0-2 fastball's way high for ball 1. Count 1 ball and 2 strikes, and for good reason for Garcia, because his ERA, like Jimmy Flahive, a fellow All-Star, is under 1 this season. Rather, it was under 1. It's at 1.74 now in 9 appearances. Fastball is high, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Here is the 2-2. Michael reaches out and pops it up into left center field. Both Stefan and Cherno going after. Cherno makes the catch. That's the first out of the inning. And Joe Bramante goes back to first base. Here is the catcher, Sean Tyler. He's 1 for 3 tonight with an RBI single. The other 2 All-Stars for the Flames will not appear in this game, seeming from the looks of it tonight. Both pitched last night anyway. Keon Taylor, who has 6 saves on the year with a 2.02 ERA. And also Jimmy Flahive, who has the league-leading .81 ERA. 22 innings pitched and relief, and the pitch is outside to Tyler for ball 1. They count 1 ball and no strikes. Fastball's well outside for ball 2. The count 2 balls and no strikes. So those 3 All-Stars for the Flames will play tomorrow as the grounders hit towards Evans. Out at second. Throw to first from Gibbs is in time for the out. And another double play by the Flames as the new substitutions show off some good feeling. 6-4-3 double play, and that retires the side. On to the 9th inning. Flames need a miracle to get a win tonight. It's 8-0 Rome after 8. Welcome back to Flames Baseball. Trace Peterson to lead things off in the top of the 9th. And the Flames, well, to put it simply, they need quite the miracle to try and get the victory, even force the bottom of the 9th inning tonight. Flames trail the Generals 8-0. And it will be 6, 7, 8 in the order. Peterson, DiFilippo, and Jake Evans for the Flames to try and keep the game alive and try and score their first run in 18 innings. New pitcher for the Generals. First pitch is inside on Peterson from Kenny Michael. He was the DH tonight in the order, so a simple change. He switches from the DH to the pitcher, and the DH is foregone by the Generals. When a fastball is over the plate for strike one, and the count evens up at a ball and a strike to Trace. Kenny Michael is making his first appearance on the mound tonight. As the 1-1 fastball's up and in, and Peterson had to duck and cover. 2 balls and a strike. And so this is a good time for the Generals to get a guy who hasn't appeared on the mound, who hasn't made an appearance on the mound all season. As the fastball is blown away, 3 balls and a strike. A good time to get him on the mound because of the score, simply put, 8-0. Here is the 3-1, and the fastball is fouled back to the netting by Peterson. Strike 2. The count runs full now to 3 balls and 2 strikes. So Peterson is putting together a pretty good at-bat to begin this 9th inning. Once again, the Flames haven't scored since the 7th inning of Friday night's contest against the Syracuse Spartans. Here's the payoff. Fastball fouled out of play to the right side. And the count remains full at 3 balls and 2 strikes. Peterson and Jack Chernow are the only Flames position players that have not moved around at least a little bit in the order tonight. As a 3-2 is popped up to the right side. 2 Generals going after it. That one's going to get out of play, however. And the next pitch will be the 8th to Trace Peterson in this at-bat to begin the inning. Trace Peterson, throughout the whole game, has stayed at the catcher's position. Jack Chernow in center field. Other than that, every player has changed their position or come out of the game. Or come into the game as a substitution as Peterson takes a fastball high for ball 4. He reaches base for the 2nd time tonight in 4 plate appearances. And here's A.J. DiFilippo, the right fielder. DiFilippo is 1 for 3 tonight. And once again, the Flames are just trying to get something going here in the 9th inning to try and get some momentum going into the day off. 8 runners left on base tonight, 9 errors. As DiFilippo fouls it away. Strike 1, the count, no balls and a strike. 9 errors by this Flames team, more than the Generals scored runs tonight. 0-1 to DiFilippo, and the fastball is in the lower third for strike 2. And the count now, no balls and 2 strikes to DiFilippo. The hit back in the 4th inning for him was his 24th hit of the season in his 24th game. As the Generals are 3 outs away, still from wrapping up this one. 0-2, DiFilippo hits in the air to right center field. That one will be caught on the slide by the center fielder, Steven Peters. Peterson, meanwhile, gets back to first base. And Steven Peters' nifty play records the first out of the inning. Runner still on first with the 1 away, and here's Jake Evans. Evans is 1 for 1 tonight. He pinch hit for Jared Grosguth to begin the top of the 7th inning. And he hit a double into the left center field gap. It got over the head of the center fielder, Steven Peters, and one-hopped the wall. However, he took too big of a turn around second base, and it was caught trying to get back to the bag. First pitch fastball is outside for ball 1. The count, 1 ball, no strikes. If the game continues, there will be another pinch hitter on the deck for the Flames. It is their new catcher, Joe Navenchi, in the on-deck circle. 1-0. Evans fouls it away to the right side. It's strike 1. The count evens up at a ball and a strike. It has been a good night here, though, for the Generals faithful, as their team has put up 8 runs. They had the lead right away in this game. Got the first run way back in the bottom of the 1st inning, and they ran away with it from there. As the breaky ball is up and away to Evans for ball 2. The count, 2 balls and 1 strike. And the Flames miscues mean on the other side of the baseball just kept adding up. As a 2-1 is lined hard but foul, and Coach David Dennis does a little dance to avoid the baseball down the first base line. I give that score a 9.5 out of 10. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Jake Evans. What the hell? I'll give him a 10 out of 10 on that dance. It was perfect. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Evans. Here it is, and the breaky ball stays high for ball 3. The count runs full now to 3 balls and 2 strikes. So add that to another another bright spot to the Flames night. One night that just hasn't seen that many bright spots in an 8-0 loss. As Evans fouls one away to the right side again. 3 balls and 2 strikes. But though Evans was tagged out trying to get back to the second base bag after his double in the 7th inning, he has the only extra base hit of the night, so definitely the substitutions for the Flames have been a bright spot. As another payoff to Evans as a swing and miss at a fastball. Strike 3 and out number 2, and that brings up a pinch hitter, Joe Navenchi. And the Generals are an out away from going into the All-Star break with 3 straight wins. And the Flames are an out away from being held scoreless for 19 innings. 19 innings if they do not score a run in this inning going into the All-Star break. Joe Navenchi up at the plate. And getting back to my point about the Flames substitutions being a bright spot, even though Evans just struck out, again, the only extra base hit of the night. There is also Mike Stefan reached base twice, with each on a walk, as the breaky ball is just inside for ball 1 to Navenchi. It's ball 1, the count 1 ball and no strikes. And then in the field, Nick Garcia with a nice play at third base. Jake Evans and Reed Gibbs solid in the middle infield with a couple nifty plays. They also turned a double play as the 1-0 is fouled back to the screen by Navenchi. 1 ball and 1 strike. And particularly notable was Reed Gibbs' play on a terrible hop on the ground ball to second base. It was a hard grounder from Matt Baker, and it took Gibbs was going to his right. The ball bounced left. It took a left turn on him as the breaking ball is on the inside corner, but Navenchi was hopping out of the way of the pitch. 1 ball and 2 strikes, and the Flames are a strike away from losing this one. And so the baseball took a left turn on Gibbs. He still gloved it beautifully, got back up, and threw out the runner Baker at first base. 1-2, Navenchi chops it foul to the left side, and it is snagged near the Flame dugout by Jake Evans. 1 ball and 2 strikes remains the count to Joe Navenchi as there are fireworks going off in center field, just well beyond the fence. Meanwhile, a 1-2 count for Navenchi. Runner goes from first. Fastball gets him a look in over the plate. And that will retire the side of the ninth and end what was a not-so-great night for the Flames here at Larry DeLutis Field. 8-0, the Flames fall to the Generals in this one. And it was highlighted on the Flames side by 9 errors on the scoreboard. That all came in the first 6 innings. Gunnar Groen was the starter tonight. He pitched 5+ innings. He allowed all 8 runs, but none of them were earned as a result of the plays in the field. And the Rome Generals were able to take advantage for sure. Give them credit and give Josh Dennison credit on the mound for his great start tonight. The Generals pitching staff overall for having a great weekend and easily beating the Flames tonight 8-0. Dennison's your winner at 6 with 6 1/3 innings and no runs. The loser is Gunnar Groen with 5+ innings pitched, as the Generals beat the Flames tonight by the score of 8-0. Remember, the All-Star game tomorrow will be called by Kristen Guzman and Chris Russell at WGWEFM.com. Once again, that's WGWEFM.com. 6:30 first pitch for that one from OCC Stadium. Flames are back in action Tuesday night at 5 o'clock when they face the Capital City Reds, a team from Ottawa, in an exhibition match at 5 p.m. Brandon Ross will have the call for that one on Tuesday night. And then on Wednesday, NYCBL action gets going as the final stretch of the season begins for the Flames post-All-Star break. They will face the Syracuse Saltcats at 7 o'clock. That game will be live on Team Line, and so will the game against the Reds. But for now, the Flames lose 8-0 to the Rome Generals. I'm Eric Moon saying good night and so long from Larry DeLutis Field.